Hi, I'm Summer Tothill and I'm a feminist influencer, educator and writer. And every week on my Instagram, I run a Q&A with my followers. They ask me their questions about how gender equality and oppression is affecting them in their world, and I answer. What you're about to watch or listen to is a compilation of 1 week's worth of those questions and answers. If you join me on Instagram every week, you can take part in the Q&A, ask your own questions, get your answers, get involved. Are more women unhappy in marriages after they become mothers or even before? Women are unhappier married than they are single, and yes, they do become even more unhappy after they become mothers. The reasons for this are not chemical, they are not physical, they are not innate to our gender, they are purely based on social conditions. They are based on what happens to women's experience of how much labour they do in the home, how much they are able to financially support themselves or continue their careers, the way that that sets them up to not be able to make choices for themselves, and the way that they are not physically or psychologically supported as a primary carer or someone who has just given birth. There's a phenomenon called the motherhood penalty, which is a subset of the gender pay gap, which yes, does exist, and it exists because of things like the motherhood penalty. The motherhood penalty is where women are disadvantaged and discriminated against in the workplace when they become parents, as well as financially disadvantaged and disadvantaged in society and in their home. And it is a phenomenon that doesn't happen to men when they become fathers. So motherhood destroys women's ability to be financially independent, and it burdens them with an excess of household labour even if they do become the primary income earner. You'd think that would be enough to make mothers miserable, but there's so much more on top of that. And we're not even talking about things like postpartum depression and perinatal anxiety. People who have just given birth don't get enough help with things like breastfeeding and the ways that their pelvic floor might have been compromised and can be fixed with physiotherapy that nobody tells them they can get. We also live in a society that valorizes motherhood and the concept of having children without actually supporting women in any way and shutting them down when they complain for even a second about their experience of motherhood. We also burden women with the task of fixing all these problems that they did not create. So yes, women often become quite miserable after they become mothers, and who could blame them? And the fact that any woman would choose to become a mother under this patriarchy is metal as fuck. Do sexual assault and rape allegations actually ruin men's lives, even if true? Yeah, men on the internet never believe a single claim of sexual assault by a woman, and yet they are feral with concern that sexual assault allegations are out here ruining men's lives. Babe, not even men who get convicted of assault get their lives ruined. Like Louis C.K., Chris Brown, Aziz Ansari, Roman Polanski, Johnny Depp, Michael Fassbender, Donald Trump. All of these men have been either credibly accused, convicted, or witnessed assaulting women, and they all still have careers. Famous men who are credibly accused of sexual assault towards women always get their careers back. They do not get their lives ruined. Men who are accused of sexual harassment in the workplace get to keep their careers. In fact, they tend to get promoted and advanced. Men who are violent towards their partners still get partial custody of the children, even though spousal abuse is also child abuse. And nobody seems to be very concerned that the very real and very frequent sexual assault that happens to women ruins their lives, even though it does. Why don't men seem to do anything about the legitimate men's issues that they use to derail feminism? I may be a bit Pollyanna about this, but I would like to think that the men who do care about men's issues are actually doing what they can about it within their own life. They're starting their little group chats with the men in their lives. They're promoting things like Men's Health Day and Are You OK Day, and they're doing Movember and raising money. The men who bring up men's issues in conversations about feminism and women's oppression are men who do not care about those men's issues and have no interest in doing anything about them. That's why they don't do anything about it. They only want to use the concept of men's issues as a cudgel against your argument that women are oppressed. They cannot hear that women are oppressed without thinking men are oppressed too. And the reality is men are not oppressed by patriarchy, but patriarchy does do a number on them. But the men who keep pointing that out don't actually care. How would you respond to the bad faith gotcha question of, what is a woman? So taking a leaf out of Clementine Ford's book with this answer, a woman is the person most likely to be a victim of sexual or domestic violence in her lifetime. A woman is the person most likely to be the victim of sexual harassment in the workplace. A woman is the category of person killed by a current or former partner at least once per week in Australia, but this year it's actually been more than that. A woman is the person who does the most domestic labour to prop up men's participation in the economic workforce, and a woman is the person who benefits the least financially from that effort. A woman is the category of person whose voice and experience is the least likely to be heard or represented across film, TV, journalism, expert opinion, academia, you name it. A woman is the person most likely to be blamed for any and all bad behaviour by men. You get my point. What unites us as women is our experiences of misogyny, not our genitals or our hormones. How to still enjoy life with all the inequity, discrimination, and injustice that's everywhere. Masturbate, babe. Just masturbate so much. You gotta get that serotonin somewhere. Just kidding, although not kidding. Definitely masturbate. But one thing I always say to this question is, remember that we do have small wins. Feminism makes wins all the time. There have been various laws passed in Australia in the last couple of years that have been great for women, have redounded to women's benefit. Things like that happen everywhere all the time. Keep your eye on those sorts of things. Try to keep them in mind. Focus on the things that make you happy. Focus on the things that you can control. Decenter men from your life so that you're not always thinking about them and always trying to figure out how to balance your hatred for them with your love of them. And get a really good sex toy. Too much or not enough? You know what is enough? More than enough is you. The people who stick around to the end of the Q&A are the best. You are the best, and I hope that it was fun and entertaining for you. I hope it was as good for you as it was for me. These Q&As take me about 5 or 6 hours to complete, and as I always say, women should be compensated for their labour, which is why I always put my little donation link here, so that if you wanted to say thank you to me, you can do so by buying me a little coffee. If you didn't get your question answered this week, try again next week. I love the commitment and the effort and the thought that you guys put into the questions, and there is always a really cool variety. There's always something fun and new for us to cover. Okay, that's it for this week. Love you, bye. Do you love exclusive content that's just for you and to sticky beak inside other people's lives? If so, please consider subscribing to my Instagram. Your subscription to my Instagram is less than $5 a month, and that gets you guaranteed answers in the weekly Q&A, which is absolutely not the case for non-subscribers. It also gets you subscriber-only content and a peek inside my life. I do not share on my public Instagram really anything about my personal life, but subscribers get a peek under the hood how I live, laugh, lol in a feminist way. But personally, my favorite thing is the guaranteed answers in the Q&As. I love being able to tell my subscribers that any question they ask me every week will absolutely get answered. So go to my Instagram and hit the subscribe button. Find me on Instagram at summertothill, that's summer with an O, spelt the same way as you see in this YouTube channel. I can't wait to see you there.